So I'll dive straight in because I do actually introduce myself as part of the training. So welcome to this masterclass. This is increasing your sales by aligning with your passion. So this training, I'm just going to move us out of the way down here. This training is for coaches, mentors, healers in the online space. So those of you who are passionate about and have the knowledge, the skills and the ability to help others create transformation in their lives. So this is for you if you want to grow your business, create an income through the services that you provide, and of course to impact as many lives through your work and your message. So what we're going to cover today, the 3 core topics, is the power of passion when it comes to creating success for yourself. We're also going to be talking about the common obstacles to alignment with your passion. So these obstacles are things that I've seen time and time again. These are obstacles that I've struggled with that really can hurt your sales, that really can stall your success in your practice, in your business. And also we're going to be talking about the 4 Ps of passion-based marketing. Now these 4 Ps, they work together. I'll share with you what they are in a moment, but they are really what will enable you when they're all kind of fitting together like a jigsaw puzzle. This is what will enable you to really become like a magnet for your dream clients. Everything I teach is attraction-based marketing, organic attraction-based marketing. So I don't do any kind of icky kind of outreach or spamming people's inboxes. I don't do any of that, and I don't teach it either. It's all about attraction. So essentially, what I love to teach and what I hope you'll go away with from today's class is how to experience the magic of alignment. So you attract more clients, you have more fun in your business, it becomes more of a joyful experience. And of course, you have more of the freedom to do what you love. So before I go in, I'm just going to kind of hit a couple of sort of pain points if this might resonate with you. This is typically where people do come to me. And where this work has kind of the most impact, if you like. So if you're struggling to attract dream clients, and therefore you might find yourself living month to month financially, there's no consistency in your income, you don't know where the next client is coming from, and living like that really puts you into a state of survival and you're exhausted. So if this is you, then this masterclass is absolutely going to support you. You might see other coaches celebrating these big money months and you have no idea how they're doing it. It just feels absolutely out of reach for you. Also, you may be chopping and changing your packages, discounting your rates, slashing the rates. And in spite of that, you are attracting those people that tell you they can't afford you. And you know, the more times you get that, the more you start to feel like your confidence is getting knocked constantly. You may have already invested thousands in different business courses, you know, coaches, business building strategies, and in spite of all of that, you've never got anywhere near the return on investment that you were promised. And again, this leaves you feeling flat, feeling frustrated, feeling overwhelmed. And it reaches a point, I think, where you just end up no longer sort of connecting to who you are as a coach. You kind of lose that connection. You don't even know what you're an expert in anymore because you feel like you've just been battered about, and you just lose that clarity and you feel completely lost. And if nothing changes in this situation, then the risk is the kind of the nth degree that you don't want to do at all costs is throw in the towel on your beloved business. And that could mean having to go back to your old job. And I specifically chose this picture because it's just, it kind of sums up what that means for me personally. So if any of that resonates with you or where you're at, then this masterclass is absolutely going to support you. I'm going to be talking about how passion is the key, the absolute key to you connecting with your dream clients, getting paid top dollar for your services, and establishing your authority as the expert in your niche. Even if right now you don't even know what you're an expert in, this is going to support that. So let me give you a quick introduction to me. So my name is Sanae. I'm a mum to Rebecca and Jake, my two grown-up children now. They've flown the nest. And my fur baby Joey, who is right there. I just love him to bits. I've recently actually relocated as well. I'm not in my office at the moment. I am currently staying with my family, with my mum and her husband, because I've just literally in the last month relocated from my home of 25 years to move to the coast. So I'm now living by the sea, and literally 3 minutes, well, obviously living with my mum, but the house I've bought is 3 minutes walk away from my mum's house. So that for me is just so important. So it's like a dream come true. This is literally filter-free photograph. It's not a stock image. This is my everyday walk. So it really is a dream come true for me. And I think, you know, if I can get across anything, it's about if your business is working for you, what you can create when you have a thriving business that gives you that level of flexibility. So quick intro to what I do. My job is essentially, in a nutshell, I help coaches sell their services. Obviously, sales being the lifeblood of any business. If you're not making sales, then you don't have a business. So this is what I'm really, really passionate about helping my clients to achieve. Now, my methods are a unique blend of the strategy and the psychology of success that's come from over 25 years experience in sales, both in the corporate and now in the entrepreneurial space. So this top picture here is me actually using sort of an energy psychology muscle testing practice with a volunteer when I was doing a talk, a presentation. So I have all of these tools in my toolkit as well that kind of blend nicely and support the strategy. You probably know this, you know, you've heard this a million times. Success is 90% mindset, 10% strategy, 10% method. So it's so important to have the right mindset in place for your practice to be successful. I'm also an Amazon best-selling author of my book Paid in Full: Free Yourself from the Burden of Debt and Live Your Best Life Now. So that's a huge part of my story. It's not for today, but I overcame a 23-year kind of debt habit. So if there's somebody that knows about debt, it is me. And I cleared it in 6 months, and that's when I wrote the book. So got quite a bit of experience in the field of kind of managing your mindset, making money, growing a business. I want to say, why listen to me? You know, why should you take any notice of anything that I have to say? Well, as I mentioned, I've got the 25 years of experience coaching, mentoring, and training in sales. So I do know exactly what it takes to turn prospect clients into paying clients. And as I said earlier, no sleazy outreach, no kind of pushy tactics. This is about you feeling completely in integrity, sharing your message and attracting people in. I'm also certified as a Canfield Success Principles trainer, personal performance coach, Psych K facilitator, and soon, of course, to be a trauma-informed EFT practitioner in Nico's Heartshine method. So I'm really excited about that. But more than that, I know 3 a.m. So what I mean by that is I have ridden the roller coaster of the online entrepreneurial space. I am taking this journey with you. I have navigated the highs and I have navigated the devastating lows. I've had those, you know, mindset meltdowns, you know, and sleepless nights, fear, self-doubt, self-sabotage, the lot. I have traversed that journey. And as a result of that, I know what it takes to now create the freedom, the fulfillment, and the fun. And I'm living that day to day more than I ever imagined possible. And I get to celebrate my clients' successes daily too. So I just want to give you a bit of a few snapshots of what my clients are accomplishing. And this is what I want for you too. So this is why I'm so passionate about sharing this message with you. So let's dive into the masterclass. And in order to kind of introduce the masterclass and the content, I want to share with you a story. So this story comes from my days in financial services. So I worked in financial services for about 17 years. Yes, that is me. I was on one of the posters for a period of time. But this story isn't about me. This story is about a girl named Nikki. Now, Nikki was a customer service advisor. She worked in one of the branches of the financial services company. It was a building society, so we had a lot of high street branches. And Nikki was a sales advisor. She sold mortgages, she sold insurance, she sold savings, all the types of products that you can expect to find in a bank or a building society. And, you know, she was in her 20s, a lovely girl, really bubbly, but in terms of her work performance, she didn't kind of create any, you know, excitement. She just was an average kind of performer in her business, in her branch. You know, sometimes she hit her targets, sometimes she didn't. So there was nothing particularly outstanding about Nikki. Now, where we begin the story that I want to share with you about Nikki is a Sunday evening, much like any other. Nikki was at home with her fiance. She was getting married in a few months' time. She just put her 5-month baby, Drew, in her cot to sleep. And as she tiptoed out of the nursery, she glanced over and there was her wedding dress hanging in its cover, hiding from her fiance, Darren. And she was really excited because that day she'd also spent hours carefully handwriting some beautiful wedding invitations. So it was a full day. She was pretty tired, but completely blissed out, just like absorbing all the romance and getting really excited about her impending wedding. So as Drew was put in her cot, Nikki and Darren cozied up together on the sofa, got their blanket, and they nestled down to watch their favorite TV show, Downton Abbey, of course. So within about half an hour, Nikki noticed a strange smell. And as she started to sniff and kind of be aware of this smell, Darren noticed it too. And they kind of looked at each other, and then they looked towards the door, the closed front room door, looked back at each other, and suddenly they had that alarming recognition. What they could smell was the acrid smell of smoke. Darren jumped up off his sofa, ran to the front room door, opened it, and was greeted by billowing, dark, acrid smoke. And you could just imagine the panic. Nikki jumped up, she started screaming, her baby's upstairs. Darren had the quick thinking to grab the blanket, throw it over Nikki's head. He kind of forced her to the floor, to her knees, and told her to just get out and get help. So she crawled her way to the front door, all the time screaming for Drew. So Darren ran upstairs through the smoke, ran into the nursery, grabbed Drew, and within minutes, the three of them were stood out on their front lawn, looking up at the house, just watching in absolute devastation as they could just see the smoke filling every room in the house. Within a few minutes, the neighbours were running out. They'd raised the alarm. The emergency services were on their way. And you can imagine Darren, Nikki were absolutely devastated. The neighbours took them in. They used the phone in their neighbour's house. Nikki rang her boss. Believe it or not, Nikki rang her boss, crying, bearing in mind it was a Sunday night, crying to say, I don't have a uniform to come to work tomorrow. My uniform is in my house and my house is up in smoke. And obviously the boss at the time said, don't be silly, you're not coming into work tomorrow. You need to sort this out. You're traumatized. Don't worry, take your time. And they ended up going to Nikki's parents' house that night. Now, that same evening, Nikki and Darren, they contacted their home insurance company, and the representative from the home insurance company on the phone, they just was so reassuring, and they just said, listen, whatever you need, just buy it, whatever you need, you know, baby clothes, food, a new cot, you know, everything you need, buy it on your credit card and send us the bill and we will reimburse it. So they was like, right, great, we need to do that immediately. Within a few days, they were relocated to a new home in the same village, rehoused in an equivalent 3-bedroom house, while the insurers went in and cleared their home of the smoke damage, completely gutted the property, redecorated it from top to bottom. They had all their furniture, all their electrical appliances replaced, brand new. They even replaced her bridal gown. So you can imagine the amount of stress that was kind of relieved from the insurance company. So within months, I think it was about 4 months, Nikki, Darren and baby Drew were able to return to their home, which looked and smelled brand new. And just as an aside, what actually happened was behind the tumble dryer, there was a frayed wire or something, and it just caught light. It just sparked and caught light to something next to it, and then it just accelerated from there. So through no fault of theirs, it was just one of those really unfortunate incidences. So having moved back into their home, what happened next? Well, life resumed. They just got back on with life, except Nikki started to get noticed by the bosses at work because her sales started going through the roof, specifically home insurance sales. She was selling policies like hotcakes, which was really impressive. And I was really impressed at the time as well, considering the product that we sold and we promoted was considered a premium product. We used to joke about it being the Rolls Royce of all home insurance policies. And it was one of the biggest objections we got from customers. It's too expensive. And it was one of the biggest objections that all the sales staff would complain about, saying, we can't sell it, it's too expensive, there's cheaper products on the market. But Nikki was selling it like hotcakes, literally. She was smashing her targets. She was even being invited to train the home insurance telesales team, who are supposedly experts in this one product. And other branch managers were begging her to come and teach her secret to their sales representatives. So whenever she went to a branch, she ended up traveling all around the country, going to all the branches, training these teams. Wherever she went, there was a little bit of an uplift in these numbers in the other people's sales, but nothing quite like what Nikki was accomplishing. So the weird thing was, Nikki had always sold this home insurance. There was no difference in this product. She knew the policy back to front. She always had. She knew the features and the benefits. Again, she always had. And she knew how the policies worked. There was nothing different about the policy. So what actually had changed? Well, because of her personal experience, Nikki connected to the true value of this premium company and their insurance product. Life had taught her what it really meant to have this particular protection in the event of the unexpected. You imagine the alternative. I mean, she daren't contemplate if she didn't have this protection in place. Her family would be homeless. They would be absolutely destitute. But instead, this company took care of everything for them. They didn't have any outlay to make financially. Everything was replaced brand new. So as a result of this experience, she now had the secret ingredient, which is what I'm going to talk to you about today. She had a desire to help others because of her experience. She didn't want a single soul to go through what she'd been through. And obviously she couldn't help prevent a fire, but she had a solution to manage the catastrophic fallout, the collateral damage of this incident. She had a solution. The energy of passion that she now had for this incredibly important product infused everything she did, infused every word. Her focus was no longer on the numbers. She didn't care about the numbers anymore. Her focus was on making a difference, making sure people were protected. And she was radiating this new level of authenticity and sincerity. She had a new appreciation for the value of insurance. And as a result, she could literally overcome every objection. You can imagine it. People would say to her, oh, it's too expensive. And she would say, not as expensive as doing up a burnt house and living in a hotel or paying for rent for months and replacing all of your furniture. They would say, it'll never happen to me. I'm too careful. And she would say, that's exactly what I thought until it did happen to me and it devastated our home. People would say, oh, I don't have time to sort it now. And she would say, Okay, try telling your family that you couldn't spare 10 minutes on your lunch break to protect your home when they're stood in shock on the front lawn as everything they own goes up in smoke. I mean, you can imagine how powerful she was. So you get the picture. There was not a single objection, customer objection, that she couldn't handle really brilliantly. So what's this story got to do with you? Well, you've most likely come to be doing the work you do because you've been through some challenge in your life. I know that I have, and every one of my clients who have come to me, they have gone through some struggle. They have experienced, endured, and eventually navigated their way out. And they found a solution. And I call these the overcomers. And I imagine that you are an overcomer. So you have, through your life experience, discovered a solution, that you've realized that what you went through, you didn't have to go through it. There is a solution. So now you're passionate about sharing that solution, just like Nikki was passionate about sharing her solution based on her personal experience. So what this means is, for you in sales, and as soon as you start your business, you are in sales, it puts you at a huge advantage. No matter what you think about selling, you know, I know a lot of people have some loaded associations that are very, very negative to sales. But the fact that you have had personal experience, that you've endured and overcome, and now you're passionate about sharing the solution, this puts you at a huge advantage because you have no shortage of passion and desire to help others. And this is what will drive your success forward. So I want to talk about why it can be so hard to connect to that passion. So if you come into your business and you're struggling in the ways that I mentioned earlier, you have all these pain points, you're flip-flopping about, why does it become so hard to connect to your passion when it comes to attracting the right people who need your solution? So the common obstacles to alignment with your passion. So starting your business, any business, but the entrepreneurial space is an absolute thrill ride. But it can also trigger our deepest insecurities. You know, it doesn't feel safe to put ourselves out there and get visible, to stand out when we've spent a lifetime practicing blending in, fitting in, not standing out. So, you know, when we have that initial enthusiasm, that can often get quashed as we find ourselves getting overwhelmed by all the shiny objects, all the information, all the noise that has us falling into states of overwhelm and imposter syndrome, perfectionism, and comparisonitis. So we end up kind of getting blown about. So there are three common obstacles to alignment with your passion that I'm going to share with you right now, and just see if you can recognize these, or maybe they resonate with you, maybe you've experienced them and you've overcome them. But I'm just going to whiz through these common obstacles, and by the end of this masterclass, if any of these obstacles do resonate with where you're at and you do relate to them, then hopefully I'll have kind of pulled the rug on them for you. So the first one is resistance to niching too narrowly. So niching too narrowly seems completely counterintuitive. And I get that. That was me in the early days. It doesn't make sense to completely funnel down and choose one specific message, one niche, one ideal client. After all, you want to help everyone. And I know that you know that your gifts, your skills, your knowledge is good for so many people. So it doesn't make sense to funnel down and get really narrow. You may also be resisting niching too narrowly because you're afraid of all the missed opportunities and potential clients. So it makes sense then to throw the net wide, throw your marketing net wide, throw your messaging wide so you can attract more people. This is actually a major obstacle to alignment with your passion. So I'm going to go through the obstacles first, and then as I go through the training, hopefully we'll kind of cut through and these will all be kind of kicked to the curb. So that's the first common obstacle. The second one I've called falling for the shoulds and the ought tos. So everyone has an opinion, right? Everyone wants to share their opinion with you. Even those with your best intentions at heart who want to help you may throw you out, may, you know, throw your best intentions into the weeds and distract you by telling you what they think you'd be good at. You know, you should do this, you'd be really good at that, this is your thing. You'd be like, oh, right, okay. And you start to take it on board because you trust these people, you know they love you, but that can just have you flip-flopping about all over the place. You might have marketing coaches advising you on what is a really good niche to get into right now. Again, it's irrelevant, it's got nothing to do with you. And the other thing is, you might be tempted to look at what's working well for somebody else, think they're having lots of fun, think that looks amazing, and think that's what you ought to do because what you're currently doing isn't working. So that again is another obstacle to you aligning with your passion. So if any of these sound familiar, don't worry, we will sort it. And then the final common obstacle, there are more, but these are the key ones that I see, is thinking and believing that you need to choose a profitable niche over your passionate niche. So we've all been conditioned to believe that passion doesn't pay. You think about when you're growing up as a kid and you said, you know, I want to be a juggler, I want to be a magician. And no doubt your parents would say, oh, choose a sensible career, choose one that pays well. You don't want to be a magician or whatever it is. We learn, we just get this subtle conditioned message that passion doesn't pay. Passion is for the side hustle, for your hobby. You may have also have preconceived ideas about who will and who won't pay for your services. So you're shoehorning yourself to fit the audience that you believe will pay, even if you don't feel particularly passionate about them. You just think they're more likely to pay than the people I'm passionate about serving. And there is a common belief out there that only business coaches, so those who help their clients make money, are able to be the most profitable and successful. And again, that is a myth, and I will pull the rug on that. But those three things, being afraid to narrow your niche down too narrowly will restrict you. That's a block. Following the should do's and the ought to's, again, another block, and choosing profit over passion. So when you fall into what I call these mind-made states, they are totally neck-up states. They have nothing to do with your heart and soul. When you fall into these mind-made states, your consciousness gets pulled away from your passion and your soul's purpose. They say that our consciousness, our attention is drawn to where the biggest disturbance is. You know, you think about if something dropped on your toe, that's a disturbance. Your consciousness will go straight into your toe. So your consciousness will go to where the biggest disturbance is. So when our mind is disturbed, when there's a lot of noise, we get embroiled in that noise, and that produces fear. Biggest block of all. Shuts us down completely to all our creativity, our natural states of inspiration. So when it comes to your success in sales, in your business, let passion be your compass. And here is why. Well, the first thing is you're completely authentic. You're coming from an authentic place. And when you're coming from that place, you align with one of the greatest rules of great sales, and that is people buy people. When you are aligned with your passion, you are naturally energized, enthusiastic, and excited. You've got like this bubbling up of enthusiasm that comes from a really soul-aligned place. You can't kind of fake that. You're coming from a place that is truth, and that authenticity is really attractive. And I'll tell you now, and you probably know this already, that we are craving authenticity. We are craving realness, especially with social media the way it is, all these filters and all the, you know, people boasting about, you know, the car they drive and you know, what they've achieved in their life. That just starves people of true authenticity. So when you are authentic online, you are more attractive because you're real and people are craving realness. Also, when you are in that place, operating from that joyful, enthusiastic, excited state, people are more drawn to you because you're having fun. They want what you've got. So when you're showing up, if you're live streaming and you're smiling and you're having fun and you're clearly enjoying what you're talking about, even if it's a serious subject, you can still have that enthusiasm, that passion oozing through. People will be drawn to you. And you know what it's like when someone is talking to you about something they're really passionate about, they're animated and it's infectious. I mean, you just need to think about when you've ever read an amazing book that's changed your life and you're talking to somebody about it. You can see them nodding along with you as you're talking about it, and they're literally itching to get their hands on a copy because of your passion. So it's highly infectious. People want a bit of that. The second thing around why allowing passion, why trusting your passion to be your compass, is because you become influential. So the energy of passion is highly influential. You think about, when I talk about influential, I mean having the ability to create a state change in your audience. So I'm not talking about influencing people in a sort of a cajoling or a manipulative way. I'm talking about creating a state change in your audience, like getting them like moved emotionally. So think about your favorite motivational or inspirational speakers. What they all have in common is their passion for making a difference. So as they're speaking, they're able to motivate people. They're creating an internal state change. And that internal state change is what drives people, motivates them into taking action. So when you show up, you're in that state of alignment with your passion. When you're sharing what you know, you're teaching on what you love to teach on, your audience will be influenced by you to take some kind of action. And that action is that they will reach out to you. They will contact you. This is where you start getting people reaching out, thanking you for your post, thanking you for your video, asking how they can work with you. And, you know, time and time again, this is proven. My clients reach out to me saying, can't believe it. People are actually reaching out to me. And it doesn't have to take a long time. It could just be your first video. Someone, the right person seeing it at the right time, could be your dream client. And that is because you showed up from that place. The other thing is, when you allow passion to be your compass, is your energy is sustainable. So passion is a life force energy. I love Tony Robbins, and I always use this quote, but Tony Robbins talks about passion is the genesis to genius. It literally opens you up to your natural sources of creativity, and it's a mountain moving energy. You feel unstoppable when you have passion as your life force energy. And I will say, you know this, it takes a lot of energy to start, run and grow an online business. You may not be physically doing much, you sat at your laptop, you know, hunched over, but you're very likely non-stop thinking, solving problems, creating, sometimes worrying. And the truth is, your brain is very metabolically expensive, which is a fancy way of saying that your brain consumes the most calories relative to its weight. So you do need a lot of energy. And when you are trying to be someone you're not, because you're frightened, or you're trying to replicate what you see somebody else doing, or you think you're not enough in some way, and so you try to be somebody you're not, or you're trying to produce content that doesn't excite you, you just think that's what people want, or you're in fear about where the next client is coming from, all of that is deeply draining, it's exhausting, and it is unsustainable. So any online business owner will tell you that you do need to be consistently visible in order to attract your ideal clients. And that takes a lot of energy, creative thinking. So alignment with your passion really means You have an ever-flowing source of energy. You're authentic. And in that high-minded state, you attract more inspiration, you're more open, you're more resourceful, you attract more opportunities, more ideas for your content, you create your best stuff. And also from that state, you're just having fun, which means you're less attached to the outcome. You're very much in the moment, doing what you love and loving what you do. This is so important. And I remember, and I always quote this as well, I remember reading something that Steve Jobs once said about when you are creative, you're creating a piece of work, you then ship it, meaning just put it out there. And then you come back to your desk or the drawing board and you create again, and then you ship it again. Instead of what so many of us do, which is create, ship, sit tight, wait, stress, hit the refresh button, check your emails. Is somebody booked a call? Is anybody engaged? Have I had any comments? Hitting refresh constantly. Don't do that. You'll drive yourself insane, and it's a sign that you're too attached to the outcome. Just ship it, come back, create, ship. Come back, create, ship. Just follow Steve Jobs' mantra. So, so powerful. And it made such a difference to me when I kind of connected to that. Your passion will close sales. And there is sort of factual research that backs this up. Now, especially at the moment, we are in the age of information. Some say too much information, but it is a fact that we are in an information age. Now, what that means is people's consumer buying habits have changed. People no longer walk into a shop and expect to be sold to and you know, have that whole sales pitch on the phone or in the showroom. Research has shown that 70% of the buying decision has already been made by the customer even before they contact the company. So what that means is us as consumers, we are doing our research, we're going online, we're reading reviews, we're checking out comparison sites, we are consuming content, and it's that content that is informing our decision. And this stat goes across all industries. It's not industry specific, it's not geographic specific, it's not, you know, location specific, it's irrelevant this type of business you're in. This statistic is across all businesses. And I would even say that it may be a bit more for coaching and the healing and the therapy world, because at the end of the day, what people are investing in is so personal to them that they need to like and trust the person that they're hiring to be their coach, their healer, their therapist. So they're likely to have been following for a while, consuming all of that content. So what this means is by the time your prospect gets on a call with you, they're already 70% sold. That phone call is to see if you're a good fit and for you to help them make an empowered decision. And that's it. You don't have to sell on the call. And this is one of those things I always teach as well. The sales call is not where the sale happens. The sale happens way before that through you showing up and the value in your content. So this is why content is king. And again, caveat, passion-infused content is king. So I'm now going to talk about the 4 P's of passion-based marketing. If you have any questions, by the way, ladies, please, I'm going to kind of open up the floor at the end to any questions. So I'm just going to sort of carry on because some of your questions might be answered as I go through this part of the training. So this is where we get kind of a bit more strategic, a bit more kind of what you can do in order to ensure that you are putting your best foot forward when you show up and attracting your ideal clients. So the 4 P's of passion-based marketing are people, problem, product, and purpose. And when you have all 4 of these working together, again, it's like they all combine to create a really powerful energy for you and the clarity that you need, the confidence that you need to show up and really shine and stand out. So the first one is people. This is about who you serve. And you've heard this a million times, but I cannot reiterate how important it is to drill down and be super specific and clear on who you serve. And again, coming back to the fear of niching too narrowly, it is counterintuitive, but the fact is, the more specific you are in your ideal client avatar, the more people you will attract. Because by virtue of your specificity, your messaging will be more powerful, will be more on point, will resonate. You will know exactly what they're going through, how to communicate to them. So your messaging will cut through all the noise and really stand out. Whereas if you're creating messaging to kind of a blanket audience with no specificity, no clarity, your messaging is just like, nah, that's nice. Not got the resonance that you want it to have, and it's not got that power to cut through. Your soulmate client, this is the who you serve, is always you from a previous point in your life. I have never had an experience where it's any different. So it's, it's always you from a previous point in your life. This is how you can create that content that will resonate, because you know how she feels. You've been there. You know what it feels like for them to spend every day seeped in this problem. You know what wakes them up and keeps them up at night. You know all the symptoms. You know what it's like to walk a day in her shoes. This is where your content will be so powerful. That's when people say, oh my God, it's like you're reading my mind. How do you know that? Because you've been there. The situation may be different. So it doesn't have to be the same situation, but the core issue and the associated pains and frustrations are very much the same. So when I talk about being specific, I'm going to give a quick example here, because this always trips people up. So I ask people when they come to me and they're struggling in their marketing, I always say, who's your ideal client? And a common answer I get is, yep, I know who my ideal client is. They are aged between 30 to 50. So that's an example. Age 30 to 50 is not an ideal client avatar description. There is a 20-year age gap there. Now that 20 years covers literally 3 life cycles. You think about the difference in the brain alone of a 30-year-old compared to a 50-year-old. How they think is different, how they're wired is different, their priorities are different. The 30-year-old may be thinking about her family, thinking about her career. The 50-year-old may be facing empty nester, maybe facing retirement, maybe looking to change her career and full of fear of being redundant, no longer being attractive to employers. Whatever niche you're in, just those 2 differences create such a difference in your messaging. So you've got to bring it right in. How old is your ideal client? Give them a 2 or 3 year span if you must, but by bringing the age in, you can be much more specific. Also, people say, she could be employed or she could be an entrepreneur. It doesn't matter. Actually, it does. It does. Because when you're trying to describe the symptoms of the problem you solve, they're going to be very different for somebody who's employed compared to somebody who is an online entrepreneur. They are worlds apart. Even the word overwhelm. Overwhelm for somebody who's employed manifests very differently from overwhelm and the symptoms and the associated frustrations for somebody who's an online entrepreneur. So again, the more specific you get, the more powerful your messaging, the more people you will attract. The second P is the problem. This is about being absolutely clear on the problem you solve. So again, your content, your messaging speaks to that problem. The other thing with when you know the problem you solve, it's much easier to craft your offer, because you know what the problem is, you know how to solve it, and you know the steps you're going to take to help them solve it. So many coaches get caught up in describing just the symptoms, and that's never enough, because when you are able to call out and highlight the problem, that's when you are positioning your credibility and your expertise. So being able to highlight the problem, calling the problem out, that's what will attract your ideal clients in terms of, oh my God, that makes sense. Yes, that's what I need. That's what I don't have. That's the problem. So, for example, I'll give you a quick example. When I think about my ideal clients, I've talked to you about the symptoms. The symptoms are she's struggling to attract and enroll clients. She's struggling to create content. She feels like her messaging is off. She's seeing what everyone else is doing and wants to, replicate that, but she's flip-flopping about all of that. They're just symptoms. The real problem is the lack of alignment with her passion, her true niche. I always talk about passion and niche in kind of same sentence, because to me, they're the same thing, one and the same. So the real problem is a lack of alignment with your passion, your niche. So when I highlight that, that's when my ideal client's like, yeah, that makes perfect sense. I'm out of alignment. I get it. So really get the clarity on the problem. You've got to drill down to get that. The third P is product. Make sure you have something to sell and you know what you're selling. Sounds obvious, right? But this trips people up time and time again. So let me just explain what I mean by make sure you have something to sell. The first thing I see a lot of sort of fairly newer coaches, they're so excited, they're full of enthusiasm, they burst out into the online scene, they're all over social media, and they're nothing. They're posting. Nobody's reaching out. They're not attracting their clients. They're starting to wonder, like, what's wrong? They're starting to get that horrible self-doubt feeling, that crumbling of confidence. When they come to me and I ask them, okay, what are you selling? What's your offer? And often the answer I get is, oh, I'm not too sure. It could be 3 months, it might be 6 months. Yeah, I'm not too sure yet. How much is your offer? I haven't really clarified the pricing yet. They're in that place where they haven't got clarity on their product. And so as a result of that, what that does is it creates a split energy. Their heart is going out there and saying, I can help you. But the big part of their head is saying, no, we don't know how to help our clients. We don't know how to help them. So there's a real push-pull. And that affects the energy with which you show up. And that literally repels clients. Sounds crazy, but I see it time and time again. And it is absolutely, true. This split energy will affect people reaching out to you. So you must create your offer and have it nailed down. The other thing here is you must know what you're selling. So this is about understanding that you're not selling coaching, you're not selling EFT, you're not selling NLP or any of the other disciplines. People don't buy that. People buy the result. People buy the outcome. So that's what you're selling. So be very, very clear on what is the product's product. And what I mean by the product's product is, for example, if you're selling perfume, the product is this weird liquid that looks a bit like urine in a bottle. That's the product. The product's product is that it's a nice smelling liquid and it will make you smell lovely. Again, it's not enough. The product's product is what? Generally with perfume, it's sex appeal. So you've got to find the product's product, the outcome. And you know what that is because you're living it as a result of overcoming the problem that you solve. So you've got to find that. What is it you want her to feel and be able to achieve as a result of working with you? So I hope that makes sense. The other thing with having a product nailed down is that you must have an offer that details the milestones that your client is going to go through in order to get from their A, where they are, to their B. When you have the milestones nailed on, that's what positions you, your authority, and as somebody who has the solution. It's like having a roadmap. When you have your offer and you say, these are the steps we're going to go through, when you have that clearly mapped out. So for example, I have 5 key milestones that my ideal clients will go through to get from where they are struggling to where they want to be thriving in their coaching business. Those 5 steps are: you're going to get your mindset nailed on, you're going to clarify, get clear on your niche, your ideal client, your mission and your message. You're going to craft your offer so you know what you're selling. You're going to then go through the marketing, attraction marketing piece, and then we're going to talk about sales, overcoming objections, discovery calls, all of that. So you can see that's like a roadmap. It's very clearly placed. So that's what you want to create. And that is what will show people that you have a system that you're going to guide them through, and it's unique to you. And also having a clear roadmap, a pathway or a bridge for your ideal clients that you're going to guide them over. It helps your prospects see the value of working with you instead of offering a bunch of sessions and charging by the hour, because that doesn't really deliver the value. What charging by the hour suggests is that you're selling time, and that's the biggest mistake, because what you're actually selling is transformation. And I know you know that, because you know you have that power within you. And then the final P of passion-based marketing, attraction marketing, is always come back to your purpose. Remember your purpose, why you started your business in the first place. It gets very easy with all the noise to forget that. But when you continually come back to your why, your core purpose, that will just drive you every day. So your true intentions for showing up and shining your light is to help people, to make an impact and change lives for the better. And as I said, it's easy to lose sight of that, and especially when you're focused on just attracting clients. Because if you're just focused on attracting clients and that's the sole purpose for you putting your stuff out there, then you're going to be attached to the outcome. So when you attach to the outcome of your content, because you need to make money, for example, your energy is desperate and needy, and that literally repels the very thing that you are wanting, the very thing you desire. And you've got to remember, your energy infuses into everything you do and everything you put out. So no good can come from fear-induced action taking. So when you come back to your passion, you come back to your purpose, it produces that authentic excitement and enthusiasm. Then you're ready to take action. Okay, so today we have talked about, I hope we're all right for time. I haven't got a timer with me, but today we've talked about the power of passion when it comes to your success in sales and your business and just in life in general. So I hope I've kind of really put that message across for you today. We've talked about the common obstacles to alignment with your passion. And again, I hope that, you know, if any of those resonated with you, that you feel like, oh, okay, I don't feel that anymore. I know that I can trust my passion and have that as my compass. And we've talked about the 4 Ps of passion-based marketing. That when you get all of those 4 pieces lined up, you become a magnet to your dream clients. You can really harness the power of attraction marketing so that you don't have to do any of the kind of sleazy stuff that you hate, such as cold outreach and spamming people's inboxes, that just ends up ruining your reputation and turning people off anyway. Okay, so hopefully now as a result of this, you can see how alignment with your passion really is the key to attracting more clients, having a ton of fun in your business, really falling in love with what you do, and creating more of the freedom to do what you love. Okay, so ladies, I am open for questions. If I could find where you are. Let me just stop sharing so I can see you. How are we doing? Oh, look at that. Bye.